against Riddick Bowl. That's live on pay-per-view TV this Friday, November 13th on TV.
Live from Tampa Stadium, the NFL on CBS brings you an NFC Central matchup, the Chicago Bears and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Hi, everybody. I'm Tim Ryan here at Tampa Stadium, and the Bucs have lost their last 5 in a row after a good start under new coach Sam White. Today, they restore Vinny Testaverde to the quarterback slot. He's been watching the last 2 weeks as Steve DeBerg was also unable to produce a victory, so Vinny is getting what may be his last chance as a starter here in Tampa Bay. I'm joined by Matt Millen, and Matt, the Bucs obviously looking for some kind of a spark. They are trying to turn around a season that's gone sour, and spark is exactly the word Mike Ditka used, saying what he's looking for.
It's funny, that word comes up on both sides of the ball today. Really, the spark maker for the Chicago Bears today on offense is going to be not Neil Anderson, but Darren Lewis. Darren Lewis gets his first start, but you know what? The offense is not the problem here in Chicago. Defense has been a non-factor for the Bears, as evidenced by their number 19 ranking. So, more changes on defense. Richard Fain, Ron Cox, David Tate. They'll start with the hope that they can make a big play and really bring back some of that toughness that they're used to in Chicago. Matter of fact, Mike Ditka said last night he can't remember being around a less intimidating Bear team.
Hard to imagine Ditka even admitting that, because intimidation is what the Bears have been about since he's been the head coach, and it is something he feels is missing. 67 degrees, a little breezy here in Tampa Stadium. A good forecast of clear and cool weather. The visiting team not subjected to the kind of heat that they can frequently face here in Tampa. Butler will be kicking it off as the Buccaneers won the toss, and they will defend to our right in their home white jerseys. Gary Anderson and Jeff Parker. Parker just recently assigned to the 47-man roster, a wide receiver number 83 out of Bethune-Cookman. It'll be Anderson, the veteran, from the 10. And he is dumped by Maurice Douglas at the 20-yard line, top special teamer. Vinny Testaverde passing at 56%, having 2 games off, and already we've got a little bit of a scuffle on the field as this line will be in front of Vinny Testaverde. Paul Gruber, Bruce Reimers, Tony Mayberry. Ian Beckles moves to right guard, a position he formerly started in. Charles McCray moves from guard to tackle as Rob Taylor went on injured reserve this week. Ron Hall, the tight end. Cobb and McDowell, the running backs. Mark Carrier, Lawrence Dossie, the wide receivers. First down from the 20-yard line for the Buccaneers, opening play of the game. Sellout crowd in Tampa Stadium. Many of them are Bears fans, both those who live here in the Tampa area and a good contingent who came down from the Chicago area. Reggie Cobb tripped up at the line of scrimmage by Tim Ryan and William Perry, and he picked up about 3 with a dive. Defensively, Tim Ryan gets the start on the left side for Trace Armstrong, bothered with a knee injury. McMichael, Perry, and Dent. The linebackers, a shuffle here. Ron Cox for John Roper with Singletary and Morrissey. And in the secondary, Richard Fain and David Tate making their first starts. Screen pass, McDowell. Well played. Morrissey. No gain.
And that's exactly what they need. They need to come out and they need to start strong. But you know what? Mike Ditka said, this defense hasn't had trouble starting. It's had trouble finishing. And, you know, in the beginning of the season, he came out and he said, this was his slogan, and he said, we've got to be fit to hit. Ironically, Tampa Bay, Sam White, he says they are not in good enough shape in the fourth quarter, and that's what he thinks has been their problem.
Now, Testaverde backed that up, too. Ditka would quarrel with conditioning, saying that's not the problem. He couldn't put his finger on why they've been failing in the fourth. But he simply refuses to consider that it's a lack of conditioning. 3rd down and 8. Good protection. The man is open. First down, Buccaneers. Reggie Cobb. To the 46-yard line, a 24-yard gain on the play.
Watch the top of your screen right there. See? This is real simple. He gets the time finding the seam in the zone, and that's what you're talking about. Get the jam right there and turn him over. Now, a good zone receiver will always find where nobody is. It's exactly what Cobb does.
Cobb split out wide from the running back position. So again, Sam White always showing a few wrinkles. Starts off with one there. First down at the 46, almost the 47 of Tampa Bay.
Run!
Cobb running inside is dropped. Sean Gale coming up from the safety position. Steve McMichael, the veteran tackle. And a pickup of 2, maybe 3 on the play for Cobb. Extra wide receiver comes in as the second tight end Armstrong comes out. Lawrence Dossey returns to the field.
Now you looked at Steve McMichael. You know, one of the things in the game plan for Tampa Bay today was to wham the inside people of the Fridge and McMichael, and those are really, that's a defensive lineman's nightmare, because you never know where he's coming from, and they're going to hit you from the side. You know, the first 5 plays, we've seen 2 of them.
2nd and 8. Cobb again gets a little bit more running room out the right side. Ryan made the tackle on him. And up from the safety, David Tate. There is Ryan, number 99, and Ryan has been a backup, has seen some action. The third-year man out of USC, 4th-round choice in 1990. And with Trace Armstrong hurt today, bothered by a knee injury, Ryan gets the call.
He doesn't look like the Tim Ryan I know, Tim Ryan.
Well, no, that's true. And mind you, I was there first, though. Look at it that way. He's got a pound or 2 on me. 3rd down and 4. Testaverde for Hall, a tight end, and it's a first down. Tampa Bay. Singletary made the tackle. Ron Hall knew exactly where the marker was, and Testaverde delivers.
Yeah, and this was important for Vinny Testaverde to come out and start fast. Now, they have not had success really in the first quarter. And Vinny, the last 2 weeks, he's been sitting, you know what he told me? He said it was good for him to watch the quarterback work the team. He's got a better perspective from the sideline. And so he says he feels like he's even more prepared this week, Tim.
Starting out 3 for 3, the kind of start Sam White wants for him, and he's had the protection he needs. One setback on first down at the Bear 42. Cobb straight ahead. Sean Gale fills well, holding him to little gain, maybe a yard. Cox, the linebacker, joining him there.
As I watched the films this week, Tim, this is what really, watch these guys right here. See, Ryan and McMichael, what they're not doing, they're not taking off, they're catching. See this, boom. They're standing there and they're letting the offensive lineman come to them. Now, my experience always told me that you've got to be aggressive. You've got to attack.
On 2nd down and 8, sideline is caught but out of bounds. A flag down, and it'll be Fain for pushing him out of bounds. Therefore, it will be complete. Carrier made the catch.
Boy, they sorely needed him to be back in, and for this reason, Tim, he's been out, but what he can do, he's got great body control. Look at this, boom. See, the ball's behind him. He knows exactly. It's good experience. He's been there before. Make the catch.
Mark Carrier into the game with 24 catches. And of course, his namesake on the Bears replaced today in the
defensive pass interference, number 24. The penalty is refused. Good catch. First down.
In the starting role, the Bears' Mark Carrier replaced by David Tate, but Mark Carrier will be in on the nickel, as will Lemuel Stinson, who was replaced by Fain, the man who just picked up the penalty.
But you know what? That's good right there. That is good that happened to Richard Fain. Now, that will light a little fire in him to get going for the rest of this game.
First down, Buccaneers opening drive at the Bear 18. Armstrong comes off the wing. They send Cobb the other way. He's hit behind the line, but carried for about 2. Stopped by Cox and McMichael. Ron Cox, number 54, had been splitting time on the right side with Jim Morrissey, but Mike Ditka starting him today instead of John Roper on the left side. And those linebackers will flop from side to side occasionally. 2nd and 10. No gain. incomplete. At Tampa Stadium, we are scoreless in this opening drive. 8:50 remaining in the first quarter. The Buccaneers taking the ball downfield to the Bears' 20-yard line, where they have a 3rd and 10. And we welcome those of you who have been watching Atlanta defeat Phoenix today, 20-17. I'm Tim Ryan with Matt Millen, and the Buccaneers with Vinny Testaverde back at quarterback, off to a good start. Testaverde 4 of 5 passing, now looking at a 3rd down. 2 extra defensive backs are in, Carrier and Stinson for the Bears. 3 wide receivers to the right. Flag is down. Underneath, it's complete, but short of the 1st down. Jeff Parker, number 83, just activated this week and driven down by Lemuel Stinson and Donnell Wolford. But a flag on the play after a gain of about 4.
And they got him for offsides. So Tampa will get to reload their gun, Tim.
Flag came right at the snap.
Defense, offside, number 24. 5 yards in the previous spot. Replay, 3rd down.
Richard Fain, the cornerback, charged with the offside.
So they got him caught over in that 3 receiver look, what we like to call a bunch. And all they were doing, they were running the zone, and they were just looking for the open guy, really coming out back underneath that zone, and he found it. They did a good job of stopping him. They had him to 4th down, but, you know, the penalty just kicked him in the rear, and now they got to stop him again.
3rd and 5. Their 13-yard line. Incomplete. Testaverde trying to get it to Mark Carrier. Looked like the receivers collided.
Yeah, they ran into
their break.
They had it right there, and that was a pick that worked against him.
Was picked by his own man.
Yeah, watch Parker and Carrier. Now, this is the trip that you're talking about, and this is also what we call bunch. Now, they're just looking to get that zone. See, but what they do, they picked each other. And the ball's gone, and Vinny knows it was there, too. What I think happened there, it looked like Parker was supposed to pick the inside guy, didn't get there.
Eddie Murray makes his first attempt as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. The 14th ranked NFL scorer all time, former Detroit Lion. And he has it. So the Buccaneers capitalize on their first series and take a 3-0 lead.
Now, Tim, can a kicker make a difference? I think there's your answer. Last week, Tampa came out, went right down the field against Minnesota. They had an opportunity to, and they blew the kick.
Ken Willis missed 5 of his last 6 field goals, and that's why Sam White, doing a little cheerleading out here now, cut him this week, signed Eddie Murray. Murray had been released by the Detroit Lions when they signed Jason Hansen and drafted him, a high pick out of college. And Murray,
that's a good guy.
Murray is a good team player. He's an experienced guy. He claims that he's not been bothered by the hip injury he had back in 1990. And indeed, he acknowledges he may not be kicking the ball as long on kickoffs, but he's been working on a new approach to the ball in the offseason, and he thinks he's restored some of the distance. So Sam White, I think, has made himself a very good pickup here.
You know, it's funny because every now and then you run into a kicker who fits in with guys, and he makes you feel at ease, and really gives you a little bit of confidence because you know when he trots onto the field, you have a very legitimate chance of getting some points. Now, I had one of them with Chris Barr, but I've also been around other guys who, I mean, they just don't fit in. You look at them as kind of wackos.
Well, yes, they've said that about kickers, but Murray is quite a reasonable young man, quite normal, I'd say.
Quite normal. And you're taking this from probably the most normal guy on any of the teams I've been on. Thank you very much.
36 years of age, and we watched him at practice Friday, made 8 out of 9, and as you said, he got them all stirred up. They were excited about his work.
Yeah, he went out there, he kicked 8 out of 9 field goals. Now he kicked 8 straight. And on the last one, he missed it, and somebody in the huddle yelled, "Cut him!" So much for respect of a kicker. Now, I'm going to tell you this, Tim. That's the most I've ever talked about a kicker. Let's stop right now.
31-yard field goal by the kicker. And Murray's kickoff is very short. Well, after all of that build-up.
Yeah. All right,
He
now
shanks it out at about the 16. You're not going to say anything about him now?
yeah, I'm feeling a little bit better about that now, Timmy.
So the Bears, Jim Harbaugh will lead out the Bears offense, having a fine year, 60% passing. 10 interceptions, however, have hurt him and have been costly. Troy Ozine, Mark Borch, Jerry Fontenot, Tom Thayer, Keith Van Horn, and Keith Jennings across the front. Darren Lewis replacing Neil Anderson at running back. Brad Muster playing with a bad back. Wendell Davis and Tom Waddle, the wide receivers. From the 35-yard line, first down. Lewis. So the Bears on their first offensive possession pick up about 3 yards on first down to the 38-yard line, trailing 3-0 to the Tampa Bay Bucks, who scored on their first possession. We welcome those of you who have been watching Kansas City defeat the Washington Redskins. Matt Millen is not pleased about that score. His old teammates, his last set of teammates, losing today to the Kansas City Chiefs. Tim Ryan with Matt Millen here in Tampa. And the Bucks took the ball down on their first possession and to settle for a field goal from Murray to make it 3-0. And the Bears have it 2nd and 8. Lewis hit in the backfield by Ray Seals and held to a gain of maybe a half yard. Defensively for the Buccaneers, Ray Seals with the 2 rookies, Mark Wheeler and Santana Dotson at tackles, Keith McCants on the right end. Jimmy Williams joined by Reggie Burnett in the middle for the injured Calvin Tiggle, who's inactive today. The mercurial Broderick Thomas on the right side.
Mercurial.
Reynolds, Mack, Carter, and Fullington.
Nobody ever called me mercurial. I never understood why.
Well, that's because you couldn't make it to the sidelines for a start.
If there was lunch to be served, I was there.
Anderson is into the Bears' backfield. In the shotgun formation, Davis in motion, third down. Harbaugh will be close, but I believe short of the first down at the Bear 45. Mark Wheeler caught him from behind, number 77. And the Bears will punt, needing about a yard or less.
Tim, you know,
first down.
You go to the zoo and they say don't feed the lions because you don't know what's going to happen there. You go to this game, you don't feed this Tampa Bay team anything. Don't give it any confidence because it's dangerous.
So you back the punt here.
Yes.
Gardocki. He crashes one. Fair caught at the 6-yard line by Courtney Hawkins. 51-yard punt. May have gone into the end zone there. The rule of thumb being don't catch it inside the 10. The ball was sinking on him, and you could see Hawkins hesitating. So Tampa Bay will start from their 7-yard line with a 3-0 lead.
You know, it's really interesting to me. I talked to Vinny Testaverde. You'll watch the standings right here. Chicago and Tampa really can be deadlocked after this game, or one can take another step. But when I spoke to Vinny Testaverde about this offense, and I asked him, you know, he said we had to be a little bit tougher. I asked him what it was like in that huddle, and he quickly pointed out that there was no huddle to yell at anybody.
Bit of a handicap in much of their offense being operated in the no-huddle situation. Not all of it. Cobb gets about 4, maybe 5. Let's call it a 4-yard pickup to the 10-yard line. Morrissey and Chris Zorich in early in the game on the Bears defensive front and on the tackle. 2nd down and 7. Play action pass. Dossie's open.
Beautiful.
To the 50-yard line. A 38-yard gain. David Tate made the tackle.
Now, there's a difference in the National Football League between run action, which you're seeing there, and play action. Now, that is play action, but it starts up front, and they really sell the run hard. And what that does, it draws everybody up, and that allows them to get downfield, get the big 38 yards.
Ball spotted at the 49 of Tampa Bay. First down. Play action again. This one well covered and almost intercepted by Fain, intended for Mark Carrier.
And that was a great example of, what Tampa Bay does. They have play action and they have run action. And they said when they taught play action, or when they taught run action rather, what they did was they just went ahead and ran the play, and they just instruct Vinny Testaverde to hold on to the ball so that the offensive line got a feel for what they want. And the biggest difference is in sound. You still hear all the popping and the smacking and the grunting and the groaning. Now this last play that they ran that was incomplete was just a pure case of play action. Fake it, but the offensive line is right up and showing pass.
So they're looking at 2nd and 10. Good protection again. Tight end Hall. To the Bear 31, and a smiling Vinny Testaverde looks over to Sam Weich and company, a 20-yard gain.
Yeah, there's Ron Hall, and he's smiling because you know what? No one thought Ron Hall was going to play today, least of all the defensive coaches for the Chicago Bears. And he's a guy they've got to have in there because he opens up the middle. He's a sure-handed receiver. He's a very good blocker, one of the few good blocking tight ends in the league.
He has a bursa sack problem on the elbow, and indeed spent 2 or 3 nights in a hospital here in Tampa as they worked on that for him and missed a couple of days of practice. Wearing a hockey elbow pad today. Flag down. Cobb down.
Yeah,
loss of a yard or two.
Looked to me like Richard Dent jumped the gun.
Tim Ryan made the tackle out the left side.
Well, as evidenced by the claps, it looks
Defense,
like...
number 95, offside, 5 yards, repeat first down.
Yeah, they caught him. Now you get into that stance and you're looking for the big pass rush around the corner. When you got all your weight going forward, sometimes it's kind of tough. But, you have to have the mental discipline to hear the sound of the cadence and to see the ball.
So it leaves a 1st and 5 for the Bucs. Threatening again here, up 3-0 at the Bear 26-yard line. Testaverde changing it up and takes timeout as the Bears snuck Sean Gale up there. Changed the look too much for him.
Yeah, that was nice. See what he had that 7-man front that he wanted, so he made the audible at the line of scrimmage. Got everybody set, and at the last second, Sean Gale did a good job of disguising it. He walked up and gave him the 8-man front. Now, generally, you like to run against a 7-man front because you have numbers in your favor. When they bring that safety up, there's another guy that can't be blocked. Yeah, now most of these safeties, you got to be sneaky in the National Football League. Now watch him, see that? Once he's set, Sean comes up, and now he gives you that 8-man front. So you got the 5 down linemen and 3 people in the box. Good job.
Bears have struggled on defense, but it hasn't been Gale's fault. He missed much of the early season because of injury. Since he came off injured reserve 3 games ago, he's averaged 8 tackles a game, had an interception and a fumble recovery, and he certainly is a very key man back there.
Oh, he's a key guy. And I asked him last night what was the key to this defense, and he said, we've got to be more aggressive. I said, how do you teach aggressiveness? He says, you know what? We got to take more chances and not worry about what goes on.
Testaverde on 1st and 5 is 6 of 9 passing. Parker and Hawkins are in. Clinton to the right as receiver. Reggie Cobb had a big hole at the point of attack and has a 1st down. Singletary made the tackle.
Yeah, Mike was there. The other thing Sean Gale told me last night was real simple. We've got to be able to stop them from tackle to tackle. That's what really hurt us last time. Now you're going to watch Reimer's inside. Now, you see, when he spun back inside, when Zorich spun back inside, that opened up a running lane. You have got to maintain the discipline of the defense along the front, stay square, and don't create any creases.
This running tackle to tackle has become all too familiar to Bear fans. This time they hold Cobb to a gain of a couple. But I'd like to take you back to your comments earlier, Matt, when you were talking about the Bears' tackles and therefore the linebacker, the position you're most familiar with, catching the blocks,
right,
not making the initial move,
right,
and stuffing things. It's been a problem for them.
It's been a problem. Now, you'll watch a team like Minnesota, and they come off the ball all the time. Now, you watch this team here, and they are a read front. And what they like to do is they just like to see what's, make the differentiation between pass and run. And so to do that, they just stand there first and kind of end up in a hand fight. In my opinion, that kills your linebacker.
Testaverde complete to Dossie inside the 5. Wolford made the hit. First and goal.
Yeah, no, so the way to get some of that back, you bring a blitz, and here it comes at Mike Singletary. But you know what? Great job by Ian Beckles picking it up, giving Testaverde the time to find the receiver.
Tampa Bay leading 3-0. Have a first and goal at the 2-yard line.
And they've been pounding it. Let's keep our eye on Mike Singletary because this plays right into his hand.
2 tight ends in. There's Armstrong. Tight end Cobb is going to be close but short.
And now you're going to go to goal line defense. Now, all goal line defense, Tim, every goal line defense I've ever been on, you'll always see the linebacker make a great hit, and Mike's made a bunch of them. But it always starts with your defensive front. If they do not get the penetration, that man can't do a thing. They'll get to his feet, which is why you see him jump a lot sometimes on goal line. They've gotten to his feet, and the only way for him to go is to go ballistic.
Second and goal. Cobb stuffed. Second effort.
Great second effort.
Touchdown.
Talked about penetration, and they got it. McMichael comes off the ball like a bandit right there. Gets it. Now this is what makes a great running back. See that? That second effort. Now watch. See, Zorich plays down the line, makes the hit. McMichael right there. Big Carrot Williams goes for naught. Reggie Cobb does exactly what he's done all year. Give the great second effort and get some production.
Murray with the point after. And a Buccaneer 10-0 lead over the Bears. 33 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Tampa Bay 10, the Bears nothing. 5 yards coming into the game, and he has just made it a 10-0 game. 83 yards in 9 plays, and that is 1 yard short of the Bucs' best ever drive. And they took 6:39 off the clock on the first drive and 5:22 off the clock on that drive.
Oh, I tell you what, Tim, that does not bode well for the Chicago Bears. 150 total yards already in the first quarter.
Another short kickoff from Murray comes down at the 8. Lewis brings it back to the 33-yard line. Tripped up by Joe King, reserve safety number 41. And so with 23 seconds remaining in the first quarter, let's take this commercial break. 10-0 Tampa Bay lead with 23 seconds remaining in the first quarter. They have had the ball only one possession, had to punt when they got near midfield. The Bucs have had the ball most of the first half and have produced 13 points on 2 series. First quarter, I should say. Harbaugh, first down, complete for a first down to Davis. Wendell Davis to the 42-yard line. And that will wind up the first quarter here at Tampa Stadium. And so at the end of the first quarter, the score, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 10, the Chicago Bears nothing. Tampa Bay, a sellout crowd watching their Buccaneers take a 10-0 lead after the first quarter against the Chicago Bears. Tim Ryan with Matt Millen here in Tampa. The Bears had only 4 offensive plays in the first quarter, and they trailed 10-0. First down at their own 42. Screen,
nice
Lewis.
ball.
Dandy move by Lewis to pick up the first down between blockers. Jerry Fontenot with a key block, the center ranging out. He got to the 47-yard line of Tampa, a 12-yard gain.
Darren Lewis, you know, this really strikes me right here. About 6 or 7 years ago, Walter Payton was carrying the ball, and there was a guy, they said, you're gonna like this Neil Anderson kid. He's not a bad guy. 7 years later, Neil Anderson's carrying the ball. They're saying, Darren Lewis, you're gonna like him a lot.
And Anderson understands that that's what happened. We'll be back in a moment. Horn on the sideline. They're working on his, it appears to be his right leg. He has had an ankle injury. Stan Thomas comes in to replace him, the second-year man from Texas, #1 pick a year ago. First down, Bears, Tampa 46. Harbaugh just got it off. Waddle. 3 Buccaneers are there to stop him after a gain of 5.
I'll tell you what, Stan Thomas, the #1 pick from last year. Now they really want him to do well. Now right here. Now first thing you got to notice, see, they kept the tight end in there for a reason. They want to give him a bump on Seals. Now he gets off, gets right to his corner, and that's too much pressure. Stan Thomas comes in. It's a tough position to be in. They ask you to pass block right off the bat, kind of don't let you ease in. But I'll tell you, this guy here, he's got to really step forward, Tim.
They had planned to get him into the game quite a bit today. They know that he's got to get the playing time. And he gets it early with the injury to Van Horn. Lewis crashes for the first down on 2nd and 5. Marty Carter tripped him up, but he's inside the 35 of Tampa Bay.
The thing that stands out to me when you look at Darren Lewis, you're going to notice a pretty big guy. You know, he's 215 pounds, but he's got little guy feet. He runs like he's got about 170 points. Now last year I asked him what he weighed. He said he weighed 225, and he said he just didn't feel good. He felt sluggish. I said, you didn't look sluggish to me. He said, well, I ran average like 4 or 5. Now when he said that immediately stuck in my mind. No wonder I couldn't catch average running backs in the league.
That's pretty quick for average, but he feels much better down 10 pounds. On first down for Davis. Overthrown, and a good job by Davis to bat it away because Milton Mack had the coverage and a better shot at the ball.
Yeah, that's a great job by Wendell Davis. Now, every receiver in the National Football League has got to be able to play defensive back at one time or another in the game. Now, this is a perfect example. Mack becomes the receiver, Davis becomes the defender.
So it's 2nd down at the 35-yard line of the Buccaneers.
Now, they told us they were going to go after this guy, Milton Mack. Jim Harbaugh told me last night that if you look at that secondary, Ricky Reynolds is playing pretty steady. The guy we think we can get after is number 21, Milton Mack.
Draw play inside for Muster. Gets 6 on the play. Santana Dotson and Broderick Thomas, 71 and 51 on the tackle. Dotson having a brilliant rookie year, 48 tackles leading the down lineman, 9 sacks from the inside position.
Yeah, he's really been a great surprise for them, and they're very, very pleased with him. But you know what? They're also very pleased with Mark Wheeler right there to his right. You know, Mark Wheeler and Santana Dotson, they think that they have a solid center line for the next 10 years.
3 wide receivers in, now 4 make it for the Bears. Morgan and Gentry joining Davis and Waddle. Pressure up the middle. Harbaugh trying to get to the marker, did not make it. Out of bounds at the 27-yard line. And it was Marty Carter who made the defensive play and took a little chalk for his efforts.
Yeah, he took a little chalk, but, you know, watch Jim Harbaugh right here, see? And watch Neil Anderson. Now, Neil, this is a case of being on the same page. We've played together, we know. I'm tucking the ball away. He knocked it out of his hand. But Jim Harbaugh knew what he had to do with the ball. The coverage took him away, turned it and run. Marty Carter makes a big play on the sideline.
Sure did.
And he also had a couple of good headbutts over there.
Little dent in his helmet, I'm sure. Field goal attempt by Butler from the 40-yard line. From the 35-yard line, pardon me, a 45-yard attempt for Kevin Butler, who has a long of 50 this year.
Now, this is big right here for the Bears to make these 3 points.
4:17 to go in the first half. The Bucs hold their 10-0 lead. Butler from 45 yards out. Testaverde off to a good start, 7 of 10, 123 yards, all in the first quarter. Overthrowing this time, Courtney Hawkins on first down.
Yeah, he needed to pull that down a little bit, because he did have plenty of protection. And the key to their offensive front is Paul Gruber, 74 at the top of your screen. Now, the last few weeks, he's only given up 2 sacks. Now, he's getting a little help right there by Anthony McDowell with the bump. But Paul Gruber is a player that gets very little recognition and is as good as any tackle in the league.
Some defensive changes here. We'll give you in just a second here on 2nd and 10. The Bears shuffling their front. Testaverde doesn't like something he sees, changes up the play. They have James Big Cat Williams activated this week at the left defensive end. Ryan has moved to right tackle with Michael the left. And that's batted down at the line of scrimmage. And a flag thrown after the play. And Testaverde is down, and it may be roughing the passer. Ron Cox was the man with the heat on him.
Yeah, Ronnie Cox comes in this week, and he's in for John Roper. He comes clean. Now, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. That's called an acting job. Vinny Testaverde. Hey, now, you got to watch. He got called right there. Ronnie, I'm with you. I think that's a poor call.
Forward pass by an offensive ineligible lineman. The penalty is only loss of down. 2nd down.
Penalty is not against the Bears.
Good.
Ineligible receiver. Apparently the ball hitting an offensive lineman rather than being batted down by a Bear defender.
Watch Jimmy Williams right there. See him? Number 71. You come in. The first thing you do is you establish your toughness. That's what Mike Ditka wanted. And you're going to see him, number 71, Jim Big Cat Williams. He's just going to go pound on Charles McCray. You let him know that you're going to be there all day long. Get in his face, throw him around, give him an elbow. I like that.
So it's 3rd down. Buccaneers at their own 28. Low snap. Testaverde. Good play.
Beautiful.
Mike Barber to the Bear 40-yard line.
Good job on the end of the reception, and a great job of Vinny Testaverde stepping up in the pocket, avoiding McMichael as he comes through. Going to get the pressure, collapses. Now Vinny has the presence to keep his eyes open. There he is. He's got him. Mike Barber was signed last Friday in the middle of 2 practices. Now, the advantage he has coming in here is he knows Sam Weiss's system because he was with him in Cincinnati. That experience just showed.
Picked up on waivers from the Bengals. And a first down at the 40-yard line. Cobb split the defenders and has a first down. David Tate tripped him up.
Now, the defensive coaching staff of the Chicago Bears told me that they thought that this Tampa Bay offense was very good at running the football. And they thought that what they had to do really was to shut it down. And that's why David Tate was inserted. He's one of those guys that will just throw himself around, and they called him a wacko. So you got to guy's going to come up and throw himself out like Gary Fensick and Doug Plank from years before.
38 yards for Cobb, meantime, on 11 carries already. First down at the 30. Again, Testaverde with an audible. Cobb straight ahead. Morrissey meets him, then Singletary, holding him to a gain of about a yard. I'd like to go back to that previous play by Testaverde just to talk a little bit again, Matt, about what Sam Weich wants from him. Stepping up away from McMichael and making that play, that's exactly the kind of thing he wants to see.
Well, he wants mental toughness, and he wants it up and down the line. And really, here's where he's getting it. Ty J. Armstrong, the rookie. Now, Ron Cox is starting today. You don't stop. You keep going. Mike Ditka said, Ty J. Armstrong is my kind of football player.
Umpire Al Conway took up a little bit of space there and paid for it. 2nd down and 8. On the 28. Fake reverse.
Nice feed.
Cobb tiptoes his way to a first down.
He looked like Tiny Tim there, tiptoeing down the sideline.
Singletary steered him out.
Now they're going to fake the reverse, and what that will do is just cause a little hesitation. See right there? They stop, fake out our cameraman, but you keep on going. Now right there, see this? Body control. You can't teach it.
Good effort by Cobb, off to a great start here in this first half. Has a touchdown already from the 1. At the Bear 18, first down. Anthony McDowell for about 3.
Now, Tim, getting back to what we talked about, what Sam Weiss would like to see, I really found it ironic. A month ago when these two teams played, Sam said we did not want to get anything going on in the beginning of the game. We wanted this man to settle down, wanted him to get into the game plan and play his game. Now this week they came out and said, what I'd like to see is somebody come up and hit Testaverde right in the chops in the first quarter so he can see if he has what it takes.
That's right. Yeah, he thinks he just needs to know that he can be tough enough mentally and physically to be a true leader for this offense. He's off to a good start today. Good pursuit by Gale, holds into a gain of about 2.
You know, when I asked Mike Singletary to rate Reggie Cobb, he said, you know, I don't know how you rate the top running backs in the league, but he said, I'll tell you this, Reggie Cobb is right at the top. Now on that last play, that was a play designed to go right up the middle. Singletary does a great job of stepping up, stuffing the hole. So like a very good back that he is, Reggie Cobb bounces it right outside, picks up 5 yards.
It's third down and a long 5. The ball at the Bear 13. 10-0 Tampa Bay lead. Cox, first sack of the day, back to the 23-yard line. Ron Cox getting his chance to start today in John Roper's spot.
Hey, we're going to make the changes because we need big plays. We got to have a guy out there who's going to make something happen. So now here comes the blitz. He comes untouched. Dent does a good job of making him step back up, and Cox makes the tackle. Now, when you have the opportunity to make the play, you've got to make the play.
Eddie Murray will try for his second field goal, the ball being spotted at the 30-yard line. A 40-yard attempt for the former Lion. It is good. $13-0. Tampa Bay lead.
Company that does this.
Well, Vinny Testaverde back in action today after sitting out the last 2 weeks. 9 of 14, 156 yards. And the Bucs went 4 games without scoring a point in the first quarter. They got 10 in the first quarter today and have added 3 more. And look at the time of possession, Matt.
Well, I'll tell you what, the time of possession, the total yards, all that says is Chicago's defense is not doing it again.
Eddie Murray kicking it off. Moved into number 13 all-time scoring in NFL history. Had of Ray Worthing on the kicker. That field goal moments ago. But he's having difficulty on the kickoff. Short again. Gentry.
Yep, that's got some. That could be it. Let's check out.
Joe King will get him at the 27-yard line.
Good. Now we got ourselves a good game, Timothy.
66 yards for Dennis Gentry, the able veteran in his 11th year out of Baylor.
He's been here many times before. Now you're just going to get past that wedge, and once you see it open up, break. There's the break. Nice block right there. Run to the daylight. Joe King does a good job. See this right here? What he did right there was play angles. That is a great job. Joe King playing the right angle to catch Dennis Gentry.
So Chicago with good field position at the 27 of Tampa Bay, first down. 7:25 to go first half. Harbaugh flush. Slides in. A late flag, I believe. Thomas, that was just debris on the sideline. No, apparently no flag, and Harbaugh picks up about 5, maybe 6. Well, wait a minute. Yes, a flag.
Defensive holding.
It blew right off the field of play is what happened after I saw it leave the pocket of the official.
Defensive holding, number 21, Tampa Bay. 5-yard penalty will be assessed from the end of the run. First down.
Milton Mack, the right cornerback, number 21, charged with defensive holding.
Well, Jim Harbaugh had to tuck it away because the coverage was too good. And Milton Mack's coverage included grabbing on. Now, let me tell you something. Holding on to the receiver happens on every single play. The key is to not get caught.
Are you suggesting that certain illegalities are something that should be included as part of the normal play in the NFL?
Well, I wouldn't say that, Tim. I'm glad you did, though.
Why am I not surprised, having watched you play a number of years in several cities?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
One of the more successful gypsies of the NFL.
Pack your bag and go. Hey, have ball will travel.
You did know how to pick the winners, I gotta say. First down, Bears at the 19-yard line of Tampa Bay. Darren Lewis cuts it up inside the 15-yard line. A gain of 5. Tom Thayer leading the blocking. He's got that great little burst. As soon as the blocker makes his hit, bing, he's making his move.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. He's in complete control because he's getting some pretty good blocking up front. Now watch this. See the hands? Jerry Fontenot, 67, just riding him down the line. Wheeler does a good job of working off it, but that crease had already been created and gave him enough room to get through there. Mike Ditka says that Jerry Fontenot is probably their most consistent offensive line, and it's really been good for him because they lost Jay Hilgenberg earlier in the season.
Second down and 6. Hilgenberg moving on to Cleveland for more money. Play action intended for the tight end, Kelly Blackwell, but good pressure by the Buccaneers rushed the play.
And you got some good pressure off the corner from Broderick Thomas, but you know what happened right there, which I really like to see in a young running back. Darren Lewis took the play fake and did a great job of sticking his face right in Thomas's chest. And that's something that he's probably learned from Neil Anderson, because Neil Anderson was one of the better blocking, probably the best blocking running back in the league. This guy, I really like Darren Lewis. I think he's got a chance to really take a step and be something special.
Gotta like his attitude. He's been patient. He says he doesn't deserve to be playing unless the coach gives him the chance. And Anderson likewise handled it very well, the switch, saying Lewis deserves the opportunity. Flags are down everywhere and whistles blow. So Harbaugh just holds on.
Yeah, what Floyd Peters called was blitz there. They brought Darryl Pollard off the corner.
Full start prior to the snap. Number 60 offense. 5 yards, repeat third down.
That's Stan Thomas. Illegal procedure, the false start.
Now there's Floyd Peters, the defensive coordinator for the Buccaneers, and you know, talking with Ricky Reynolds and Darryl Pollard and some of the defenders on that team, they said, what do you notice about Floyd Peters when it gets tight? He said, well, you always know when it gets tight in the sidelines because Floyd throws everything out and says, let's dog him, let's blitz him, go after him. So he says there's a direct correlation between getting it tight in the sideline and getting those blitzes called.
Third down and 10. Big play for the Bears. Harbaugh can't find an open man. Still looking. And he hits Anthony Morgan, but it's incomplete.
There's the guy we were just talking about, Ricky Reynolds, who is right there. Now, I like that changeup right there. Floyd Peters on the play before, he went with the blitz, brought the corner and Darryl Pollard. This time, they rush 3 and they drop 8. That's called changeup.
So the Buccaneers do the job defensively, stopping the Bears at the 20, and Butler now will attempt from the 27-yard line. A 37-yard field goal. He missed from 45 earlier. Fake. Peter Tom Willis, and he is dropped. Ricky Reynolds and Broderick Thomas.
If that was a fake, that was one of the poorest fakes I've ever seen.
Buccaneers would tend to agree with you. 3 of them were there before Willis had a chance to do anything. 5:41 to go. Tampa Bay on top.
About an ill-conceived pass play, and it's because it wasn't a pass play. The only guy out is Steve McMichael at the top of your screen. What they were trying to do was to get Ricky Reynolds all the way in, and then he was going to just slide back outside and use the rush against him. It never happened.
So the Buccaneers take over at their own 29-yard line. Bears are still scoreless. Reggie Cobb. Cobb gets about 4. Out the right side. Running behind Beckles and McCray. Ron Hall, the tight end. Cox and Tim Ryan made the tackle. Ron Hall with that hockey elbow pad on his left elbow.
Think he got it from Phil Esposito down here?
Could be. Went to see the Tampa Bay Lightning last night. They lost to Calgary, but they sold out again. Hockey in Florida. Hard to imagine. It is indoors on artificial ice, I should point out. 2nd and 5. Cobb.
Good.
Stopped at the line of scrimmage. No gain. Singletary and Ryan are there.
Stopped by Mike Singletary. How many times have you heard that over the last 12 years? And let me tell you something about Mike Singletary. Mike Singletary as a linebacker has always been a function of his defensive front. Now when that defensive front starts catching and starts reading instead of taking off, that affects this guy, because what it does, it cuts down on his lane to the football. When he starts to attack, a guy gets in his way, he's got to redirect. Still very productive in his 12th year.
3rd down along 4. Testaverde. Flushed, takes it upfield, short of the first down, but a gain of about 4 more. Zorich and Dent made the tackle. Singletary gets in on it as always.
But it looks like they made it, and that's what they had to do. That's what the Chicago Bear defense had to do. They had not stopped this team the whole first half, and you're into the 4 minutes in the half. That's the first time they've stopped them, really, for 3 and out.
Dan Straczynski in for his first punt.
That's it, Mike.
What a leader he is. I mean,
And he's got to be. And they've really got to lean on him.
Play every play, he says, just one at a time. Just play every down, one at a time, and we'll get better. Buccaneers so far have been able to move the ball effectively until this series.
Now they let the clock run down.
On the offense.
Well, now Chicago's got to get some points on the board in this last 3.5 minutes. If they can do that, they can get a little bit of that momentum back on their side. And it's all going to start right here with Anthony Morgan. It's a guy who's got some speed. He's got to make a good decision. Now, I say if you're a Danny Abramowitz, you got to set up a good return and get some field position out of this return.
A little delay was somewhat costly because it's going to give him a chance at a return they may not have had. Ball bounces down to the 24-yard line, so it did not hurt the Bucs in any significant way. Chicago starts from their 24 when we return to Tampa Stadium with lengthening shadows. 3:02 to go in the first half. For the game and time in your area. First down, Bears at their own 23. Harbaugh threw a knuckleball out the right side. Gentry had no shot. 2nd down.
It's a poorly thrown ball by Jim Harbaugh, and really at a time where they can't afford it. I think if you went into this game and I would have asked any of the coaches or players for the Chicago Bears to draw up a very bad scenario, they couldn't have drawn it up any worse than what it is right now.
Harbaugh hit his first 3 and has misfired on his last 4.
Mike Ditka said he wanted to see what this team had. He's going to get a chance to see it.
Lewis. Nowhere. 2 defenders bounced off them but had no chance to proceed forward.
See that right there? Look at everybody. He's pointing and yelling, clapping. Everybody on the same page. You know what you're seeing right there? That's confidence. That's something that comes with experience in the game, and they're getting the experience of stuffing them. Now, this Tampa Bay defense has been playing very well. He's got the great balance. Now here they come. 1, 2, 3. Here comes the troops. That's confidence. You cannot teach it.
Roger Jones led the assault. Waddle, Morgan, Davis, and Gentry, 4 wide receivers. The 2 young tackles, Wheeler and Dotson, and they'll shift left to right, as you can see here. 3rd and 10. Very big play for the Bears. Flag down. Dotson has the ball. Tampa football. Stripped by McCants. Harbaugh lost it to Dotson.
See what this flag is.
There is no penalty on the play.
There is no penalty.
There is no penalty on the play. First down.
All week, Sam Weiss told us we have got to get Mark McCants playing again. He says he practices hard, and here he comes right up the corner, gets to that arm. You're going to see him coming from the left side of your screen right there. Boom. See that? Ball's up, and there's Dotson. The guy always seems to be around the ball. Mark McCants, though,
Keith.
number 1 pick. I'm sorry, Mark. I'm thinking of Mark Wheeler. Keith McCants, the number 1 pick. They really wanted to lean on him this year. He never surfaced. They were expecting that all year long. Now, the Chicago Bears are the absolute dead last after a turnover going against them.
And what field position to get some points? 16-yard line of Chicago. Cobb gets about 3. Morrissey made the tackle. Bears fans cannot look at the second halves of Bear games this year and feel like they can make any kind of a serious comeback here in Tampa. If they get down another 3 or 6 or 7, that is going to be a very difficult task for them. 2 minutes remain in the first half here. Tampa Bay up 13-0, and they have the ball at Chicago's 13. Looking Mike Ditka on the sideline. I'm not sure whether that's good or bad for the Chicago Bears. He can't be pleased with their performance so far.
And, you know, let's take it even a step further. This has been a disappointing year for him. You know, as I spoke at the top of the game, he said he's never been around a less intimidating team, Chicago Bear team, since he's been here. What he's really looking for is the mental toughness. And how he defined that, Tim, he said that mental toughness was their ability to perform at your maximum under the maximum amount of pressure. Right now, let's look for some of that mental toughness because they got pressure on them.
Buccaneers 2nd down and 7 at the 13 of Chicago. Play action, wide open, Hall, touchdown. Flag after the play. Lawrence Dossie seemed to be protesting as though it is against the Buccaneers. The flag came very late. Hall was actually in the end zone before the flag was thrown.
Well, let me tell you this. That play was right out of Sam Weiss's Cincinnati playbook. They ran that against us for the same result. Now watch down at the bottom of your screen on the right hand. You're going to see they're going to run those 2 receivers out at the top. He'll fall down. See right there? Hall falls down. That takes everybody's eye off him.
There is no fraction on the play.
And dives in unimpeded. May have heard the officials say there is no infraction. That's 2 times in a row flags were thrown, and both times the referee said no foul.
Well, I'll tell you what, there may not be a foul, but right now Chicago is playing foul.
Chicago a victim of some chicanery there.
Trickery and chicanery, the same thing that Sam Weiss did to win the game. That was the same play in Detroit. At the end of the game, they ran that same play. It worked again.
Hurry for the point after. .153 still to go in the first half, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beating up on the Bears 20-0. In the second quarter, 1:53 to go. Ron Hall scoring a touchdown to open a 20-0 lead. Tim Ryan with Matt Millen, and somewhat demoralized Chicago Bears defense. We watched Mike Ditka following the touchdown play turn on Vince Tobin as defensive coordinator, and without benefit of audio, it was clear he was a little upset at it.
I'd be upset too if I were him.
Murray's kickoff to the goal line this time. Gentry out to the 20-yard line of the Bears. Let's see that touchdown one more time. This is pretty tricky stuff.
And I'll tell you what, this is a case of having the right defensive call for the play. Now they're in man. Watch Sean Gale on the 5-yard line right there. You see, Ron Hall falls down, and once you're in man coverage, you're locked on. Your read goes from the man. You see him blocking. Now you look to help. Too late. He's out in the flat by himself. Everybody's manned up, and he gets caught. And that's a very good football play. And that's a very good football player right there. And, hey, sometimes that stuff just happens. It's just unfortunate that it happened there. Or fortunate if you're a Tampa fan.
Now the Bears offense up against it. Harbaugh for Waddle. Just short of the marker, it appeared, for a first down, but out of bounds, stopping it at 142.
Yeah, Tim, we talked about their defense not holding up their end of the bargain, and he said that their offense really, that wasn't the problem. Well, today, that's been a problem as well. Really, they have not been playing well on both sides of the ball. They haven't been able to stop them, save one time, and they haven't put anything together.
And the Tampa Bay Bucks haven't allowed them to do either.
Yeah, and you know what? We're talking about Chicago's negative, but we're forgetting Tampa Bay is playing a heck of a football game.
Harbaugh on second down. Flicks it off for Anderson. Anderson gets about 3 to the 35-yard line.
Yeah, that was vintage Neil Anderson, and that's vintage running back who's been in the league for a while, known as experience. He knew right away, hey, we're down to a minute and a half. We got to get the ball out of bounds. Always has great awareness. He's got great body presence. The guy has a presence on the field, but he just kind of slipped. When I watched the films, he just doesn't quite look as sharp as the Neil Anderson I remember.
Well, and as we said earlier, he was very classy in dealing with the Chicago media this week about the change to Darren Lewis, saying he remembered well when he gave a spark to the Bears in the days of Peyton, and that Lewis deserved his chance. Waddle out of bounds. On the coverage, Milton Mack.
Good defense, and I'll tell you why it was good defense. Now, number one, he knows they've been coming after him all day. And they get him right here, matched up on Tom Waddle, and he makes his break. Mack has the good read and a great break on the play. Milton Mack. You know, it's tough when you're out there on the field and you know going in that you're having a little tough time and a team is going to pick on you rather. You got to step up and make some plays, and that's the way you get it done.
2nd and 10 Bears at their 34-yard line. Harbaugh has some time, but he misfires intended for Gentry.
Tell you what, that's
1:22 on the clock.
Another poor throw, Tim. You can't have that right now. Mental toughness, he said, is under pressure. You've got to exhibit some of that right now if you're Jim Harbaugh. You've got to make the plays when you have an opportunity to make them. On the other side of the ball, Tampa Bay's defense has played a great game this first half. I mean, they have it rolling. And you can see it as we talked earlier. Guys are slapping each other, jumping around, getting to the ball. It's tough to beat a team, any team in the league, when they're playing with great confidence.
A little high for Gentry. Off his hands, incomplete.
Should have been caught. Ball was on the money. Dennis should have had that catch.
1:17 to go, and the Buccaneers will have the ball again. Gardocki standing at the Bear 20-yard line. Courtney Hawkins, returning now that Willie Drury was cut this past week, stands at the 25. And a short punt comes down at the 30. Hawkins to the 36-yard line, met by Maurice Douglas. Just a 36-yard punt from Gardocki. Well, some scores earlier today. Washington's woes continue, and they lose to Kansas City 35-16. The Eagles with Randall Cunningham upset by Green Bay today. And Chicago has the pack next. Houston,
that was
a real
big
struggle against Minnesota. A seesaw affair. Oilers needed it more than the Vikings did. Pittsburgh got a battle from 2-8 Detroit. San Diego by a point over Cleveland. And the Jets beating Cincinnati. Atlanta 20-17 over the difficult Phoenix Cardinals. Testaverde is dropped. John Roper, number 55. Testaverde got back to the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard on the play.
Well, they took their one shot. Now Sam Weiss sends Anthony McDowell and Reggie Cobb back in the game. And now we're just going to hand the ball off.
45 seconds and counting down. A comfortable lead for the Bucs here at home. Although I suppose some of their more fickle fans would say nothing is comfortable for the Buccaneers looking at past history. But the Bears have not been a second-half team this year.
He's just watching the game clock, and he's watching his 30-second clock in the end zone.
This is one of the more exciting plays in football, don't you think?
Oh, no question. I always liked it. It gave me a chance to catch my breath.
Cobb.
Oh, boy.
Cobb's not exactly letting it count down. He only knows about going forward, and he got 10 yards as time expires. All right, so we have reached halftime here in Tampa with the score. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers 20 and the Chicago Bears nothing.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering. RCA, #1 with the toughest critics.
For Mike Ditka, who made lineup changes in order to create some spark, as he put it, give some guys a chance to show what they can do. Darren Lewis back to receive here, who started in place of Neil Anderson, but they have not been able to produce a point. Gentry out to the 28-yard line. And here is the read 'em and weep for Bears fans and the joy of Tampa Bay fans today. 159 passing yards, a total of 236 in the first half. And as you said, Matt, they had the ball twice as long as the Bears did, and that means they were driving it up and down the field as they did through their first couple of possessions. He was furious at that touchdown pass to Ron Hall following the Bear turnover, and you wonder whether he'll take a little charge of what they do defensively in this half.
Oh, he will.
Van Horn is back in. He was hurt in the first half with an apparent ankle injury. Mark Bortz had been replaced late in the half by John Wojciechowski, and of course Ditka planned to use Wojciechowski and Stan Thomas in the lineup anyway. But the starters are back. A gain of 2.
Gain of 2, and you know where this second half is going to fall on the offensive line's ability to protect the passer, and Jim Harbaugh has got to have a very good second half throwing the football.
Harbaugh 5 of 12 in the first half for only 42 yards, and again not too many opportunities because Tampa had the ball. Lewis breaks it outside. Good pursuit, and it's Mark Wheeler pulling him down after a gain of 3.
Now, Troy Auzine, the left offensive tackle, number 70 right here. These are a young guy who has a lot of abilities, but you know what? No flags because there was no hold. I didn't see it right there.
What's your point there? I mean, you saw a little grab, and then he let go, and he grabbed him again.
That happens, but you know what? That's the learning process of a young offensive tackle. And Troy Auzine is learning. I spoke with him before the game. He's got a bad left shoulder. He has it in a brace, and he's out there every play, doesn't say anything. He's got good technique. He's getting better and better, and they're pleased with him.
3rd down and 5. An early big play. They haven't converted on 3rd down yet. And this one is stuffed completely.
I don't understand that one at all.
McCants made the force and the tackle, and the Bucs came pouring through.
Those plays you generally see on the 30-yard line going in. You don't see them coming out of your end zone. Now you know you're in 3rd down. You're going to get a big pass rush. Here comes Jimmy Williams, stuffs it, turns it back inside. That allows McCants to come back. He makes the tackle, but Jimmy Williams makes the play.
So the Bears punt on their first opportunity in the second half. Radaki, and the left footer gets a good one away. Backing up Hawkins to the 26.
He's got something. He can turn that corner.
Lewis got a hand on him, but Hawkins, a good effort up the sideline to the 42. A 46-yard punt before Mark Rodenhauser, the snapper, got him at the 43-yard line of Tampa Bay. Good field position for the Bucs.
Hasn't stopped. Vinny Testaverde. Now, we spoke to the Chicago Bears, Mike Singletary in particular, and I asked Mike, tell me about Vinny Testaverde. What really stands out to you? He said Vinny Testaverde is one of those players that if he gets hot, he can kill you. But if you can get things going against him, then he tends to be streaky and not get into rhythm, and things go against him. So far in this game, he has been able to kill him.
He's had a lot of time. They haven't had the early pressure that Singletary said they had to have. And that's what everybody knows about Testaverde, including his own coaching staff. To the 45-yard line, a gain of about 2 for Cobb. Ryan and Perry made the tackle.
Yeah, there's a couple players in this Tampa Bay team that really nobody hears of. And this man in particular, Reggie Cobb, he reminds me a lot of James Wilder, the running back they had here a few years ago, who, when you prepared, you had to prepare for playing him. Boy, you really had to get ready because he was one heck of a football player.
He's got Dossie. A gain of 5 to midfield. Wolford made the tackle. Lawrence Dossie, number 80. Second-year man from Florida State. Hasn't had a great year for them. 37 catches coming into the game, but not nearly as many big plays as he made in his rookie year.
Yeah, it looked like he's suffering some sophomore-itis. He came in and he practiced hard, did everything right. Now this year he's kind of slowed it down a little bit, and he's also been nicked.
They have a 3rd and 3 at midfield. Again, you look for those little situations. It's a 3rd down here. They're at midfield. For the Bucs, they can really ram it down the throats of the Bears if they keep possession here. Chicago really needs to stop them now. Intended for Hall, who stumbled, the tight end. Never made the cut. So Chicago gets a break there.
Gets a break, but I'll tell you, Jim Morrissey made the play. See, Morrissey did a good job of keeping inside position on Ron Hall. And from a throwing point of view, that's a very tough throw to make. You have to throw it over the backer and hope that ball comes down in time for Hall to make it.
Straczynski standing at his 35. Anthony Morgan at the 10-yard line for Chicago. Lights are on here at Tampa Stadium as we are now at almost 5:45 Eastern time. Morgan lets it bounce, and it is just into the end zone.
Well, there's no excuse for Darryl Pollard to stop and let that ball bounce around. He had every opportunity to stop it inside the 5-yard line.
50-yard punt by Straczynski, and he deserved to have the Bears starting at the 1.
Brings trivia question. In 1989, the entire
back over his shoulder right there. What he's doing is he's looking at the big picture scoreboard in the end zone, and that can be a help for a lot of players.
Midfield. Anderson breaks a tackle and picks up 8 yards. Broderick Thomas had him at the line of scrimmage. So Neil Anderson, coming off the bench, comes up with a big play.
Yeah, now they're starting to pick it up, and it starts right in the center of the screen. 67, Jerry Fontenot and Mark Wheeler. Great job of hands. See that? Offensive line play really in the National Football League right now has turned into counter and using your hands and countering them. That's exactly what he did right there. He got his hands on him, used his momentum against him, got him out of the way.
Marty Carter made the hit for Tampa Bay. 2nd and a long 2. On the draw, Anderson running hard. 1st down, Bears to the 35.
Now, it's no surprise to him that they're going right back there, given the fact that Mike Ditka has said that Jerry Fontenot has been their most productive offensive line. So now it starts there, they turn them, get the shoulders turned. Now we're going to go right back, run right behind you. Now, he says he's bigger this year. He's gotten better each week as the season's gone on. He's stronger. And they like him so much that they may even use him as an offensive guard and center. They think he can do both just as well.
Carter and Fullington making that last tackle combined. And a first down Chicago at Tampa Bay's 35. Harbaugh play action to the tight end. Good catch by Jennings to the 8-yard line. Good coverage, fine pass, good catch. 22-yard pickup.
Yeah, a nice throw by Jim Harbaugh. What he does, he's getting the blitz. Now he knows he's locked up man-to-man. Now he's got Jimmy Williams on him all the way. Now you've got to get on the inside and make that be a tough throw, and it was. That's good coverage. But Stanford Jennings' younger brother Keith makes a good catch.
Stanford of the Bucks, Keith of the Bears. Harbaugh 3 of 3 now in this half, 52 yards. Anderson, Keith McCants gets him, and he carries him for about 3 to the 10-yard line.
That's a good example right there of Neil Anderson running hard. I mean, he was stopped in the backfield, and he carried him for 3 yards, and that's not a small man.
Word on Darren Lewis, who started for Anderson. A sprained ankle, did not get stepped on, turned his ankle. And Thomas is down for the Buccaneers. 7:03 to go in the third. Lights have been on for a while here at Tampa Stadium, and the Bears threatening on second down as we're looking at Reggie Burnett, the starter in the middle for the injured Calvin Tiggle. Broderick Thomas is out for at least a play. Went limping off the field. Harbaugh gets some time. Overthrows Jennings. It was wide open.
Well, when I see that, I just remember what Mike Ditka said. Mental toughness is the ability to play at your maximum level under the maximum amount of pressure. In other words, when you got to have a big play, you got to make it.
Thomas has returned to the Bucks lineup. Elijah Alexander had replaced him for just a play. Now the Bucks send on 2 defensive backs, Jones and Pollard. Morgan, Waddle, Gentry, and Davis, 4 wide receivers for the Bears. Third down. Incomplete.
Good defense. Ricky Reynolds.
Intended for Waddle.
Ricky Reynolds is a corner in this league. I don't know if there's anybody playing better than him right now. They start out in trips, and they're just zoning that. Now Reynolds sits on it and makes a great break over the top. Tell you, he's been doing that all year, and nobody has even mentioned a word about him.
Well, you just did.
Yeah, well, he deserves it. Ricky Reynolds is playing as well as any corner in the league right now.
Ditka now working the officials. 27-yard field goal try for Butler. And it's good. So Butler is 1 for 2, and he gets the Bears on the board.
Defense inside the 10. Everybody comes to you. Now Waddle will sit down. He can make his break now. See, here comes the ball over the top. See that? You could not teach that any better. That was a beautiful play. Now Mike Ditka doesn't have the advantage of seeing that on replay, so he's just jumping all over and say, hey, he's over the top. He hit the man. He interfered. Mike Ditka is doing everything he can to make a difference on that sideline.
Oh, another bad kickoff, this time by Butler, though. Goes out of bounds about the 25, so Tampa Bay will start from the 35. Look at that, gives Mike something else to yell about.
Hey, I'll tell you what, I don't fault him at all.
I didn't fault him.
No, I'm just saying, you know, he's been under a lot of pressure for yelling at guys and getting on them. You do that every time, Mike Ditka.
Only at the top. Mike Ditka isolating himself here from the rest of the staff. He is hot and fired up at this point. I think there are a lot of things at work here. First of all, he says there's 6:25 to go. There's a lot of time here in the third quarter, let alone the game. We can win this. We just got to do things on both sides of the ball. He only got 3 out of the last drive after the play in the end zone with Reynolds batting it away in front of Waddle. Reggie Cobb It's about 4. For an NFL update, let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York and find out what's going on in our other leagues.
All right, Tim, at Candlestick Park, Bobby Hebert to Dalton Hilliard out of the backfield, 11 yards in the touchdown early in the 4th now. It's the Saints 20-7 over the 49ers, Tim.
Wow, how about that? They always play well out there.
Always. We always had a problem with them out in San Francisco.
That was when you were playing for San Francisco.
That's when Vagabond Millen was in Frisco. The Bobby Bonds of the National Football League.
Probably made his money, too. 2nd and 6.
Good job.
Cobb tripped up by Sean Gale, coming up to make the kind of plays he was talking about. Singletary there, ranging out to the sideline as well. And here's what's happened earlier today. Philadelphia being upset by Green Bay. Washington a stunner against Kansas City. The Redskins continue to stumble. Houston edging out Minnesota. Good win for the Oilers, badly needed.
Must win right there.
Detroit giving Pittsburgh a battle, but the Steelers continue to win.
They've played well this year.
New England finally gets one, beating Indianapolis. That was a shootout with a 3rd-string quarterback, Scott Hollick.
He's been rubbing that Joe Montana ball. Same ball Joe Montana would like to be throwing again.
3rd down and 5.
Big down. Big play right here for Chicago Bears.
That is Anthony McDowell, the fullback, only a yard. Richard Fain, number 24, comes up with a big play.
Hey, they're stepping up, and look at right there. Fain's doing everything he can to get him in. Play before Singletary threw himself in. Hey, they're starting to pick it up. That's good. Now that's got to transfer over to the offense somehow.
Dan Straczynski standing at the 25-yard line. Anthony Morgan waits for it at the 15. Sam White and company can't afford a letdown as the Bears are clearly picking it up. Let's see whether the Bucs defense can stand tall in the next series. Morgan backs inside the 10. A good punt by Straczynski. Only to the 10-yard line. 4 Bucs around the ball. A 51-yard punt by Straczynski, and Gary Lewis got him. Leading the Bears 20-3. 3:49 to go in the 3rd quarter. Tim Ryan with Matt Millen here, and a terrific performance by the Buccaneers, who have lost their last 5 in a row after a promising start. New coach Sam White had his boys fired up today, got Vinny Testaverde back in at quarterback, and defensively they've been stuffing the Bears. Play action, Harbaugh. Roderick Thomas, 3rd sack by the Buccaneers.
2 things happen right away. Watch the bottom of your screen. You're going to see Mark McCants come off the corner. Makes him step up. Now now watch the coverage down below. See? This makes him have to make a decision. There's nobody to throw the ball to down there, so he's got to get on his horse and get outside. And that's where the convergence of that Tampa defense takes over.
Keith's mama, Mrs. McCants, wants to make sure that you get his first name right. Keith.
I call him Mark again.
Him Mark. That's okay. You're thinking of Mark Wheeler because he's always right behind him.
He looks like Mark McCants. Should change his name.
On a drop play. Lewis out to the 15, still short of the 1st down, leaving 3rd and 5. 9-yard gain for Lewis. Lewis, you can see, still limping some. Came back in with a taped sprained ankle.
Now, this is what a running back sees. Everything good. Now you try to make a decision where to run. See, it's tough to see it like that. That has to come on instinct. And that's what Darren Lewis had.
Lewis had 72 yards last week in the losing effort against Cincinnati. Has 28 so far in this game. But remember, the Bucs had the ball most of the 1st half. 3rd down and 5. For Lewis, driven back on a good defensive play. Carter.
headbutting everybody over there today.
Buccaneers defense did exactly what they needed to do, stopping the Bears in their own end. Solid performance by Floyd Peters' crew to this point in the game. Gardaki. Bear bounce inside the 40 to the 38 of Tampa Bay.
And they got some great field position out of that kick. So the Tampa Bay defense does, like you said, exactly what they had to do. Stop them down there, force them to punt, and come out of that with some very good field position.
A 43-yard punt. And a reminder that next weekend, CBS Sports presents the Franklin Funds Shark Shootout, hosted by Greg Norman. Other players competing, in addition to Greg, Fred Couples, John Daly, Arnold Palmer, and Davis Love III. Each of the 3 days will feature a different format: best ball, alternate shot, and scramble. That's next weekend right here on CBS Sports. Should be some fun golf.
That was a Mako shark incidentally.
Is it? A Mako? Testaverde, 11 of 17, 173 yards, no interceptions. Until now.
Nice pick.
Wolford at the 40-yard line of the Bears.
Yeah, Mike's talking to him there.
Wolford slow to get up. May have landed on the football.
Well, he got rocked. Now he goes vertical to get this ball. They do a good job with the defense. Turn it over. Now there it is. See, they're in the zone. Boom, he comes down. Now they just power out. Ty J. Armstrong got him, and that's probably why Mike Singletary was talking to him all the way to the sideline there. And after the play was over, goes up, does the good job of making the catch of the ball at its highest point.
Now again, some people might think, well, you know, Armstrong shouldn't have hit him. That was illegal.
No,
nobody had touched Wolford. Right. He could have got up and run with the football, and in fact, had Armstrong not hit him, I'm sure that was on Donnell's mind. 1:29 remaining in the third quarter. So the Bears come up with the first interception of the day against Testaverde and have good field position at their 39-yard line. Trailing 20-3. While they attend to Wolford, we'll take this commercial break. The day against Vinny Testaverde, and Chicago with 1:29 left in the third as a first down at their own 39, and Richard Dent pumping up the defense.
And you can use that. See, now you can manufacture something right there. Now that's a cheap shot. They're going after us. They're taking our guys out. We have to turn the tables on them. Now that's kind of the psychology that you could use. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Wojciechowski has come in at right guard. Tom Thayer gets a break. They'll make it Wojciechowski at left guard for Bortz, and making his first appearance, the rookie from Colorado, Jay Leuenberg, in Tom Thayer's spot. Mike Ditka told us that he would get Leuenberg into the game for a few plays. Lewis bobbled and then caught it. He's buried. A flag flies. And that play lost 5 depending on the flag. And a hold against the Bears. Make it 10.
But Mark Wheeler did a good job of coming over there. You know, the sign.
Holding, number 85 offense. Penalty is refused. Second down.
Now the sign of a good defensive lineman, and he's just learning how to be a good defensive lineman. Mark Wheeler, number 77, is to never stop. Now you get blocked at the line of scrimmage, non-stop. You just keep on going. The ball's thrown outside. You run to the football. That's exactly what he did. But more importantly, now I spoke with him the other day. Mark Wheeler said, you know what? Halfway through the season, and I feel like I've been in the league for 10 years.
That's what it's like to be a rookie. Lewis bouncing and dodging, sore ankle and all, picks up about 9, maybe 10. It'll leave third down and a long 5.
And that was an example of the quick feet that we talked about. See, they had him dead to rights. He just make you miss. Every now and then the guys come through. You get Thurman Thomas who has that. Now watch him now. There's Mark Wheeler getting the double team. Now here he comes, running through. He has a chance to get him. See that little boom? How do you make a guy miss like that? It's not like your running back coach is going to teach you that. That's something you're born with.
3rd down and 5 for the Bears. Approaching the end of the 3rd quarter. Harbaugh running out of time. McCants got him from behind. It's an incomplete pass. And lucky it wasn't just a fumble. He had the forward motion, or that could have been a turnover.
Yeah, watch the bottom right side of your screen. You're going to watch Troy Auzine on Keith McCants. Now McCants gets to the top, throws a nice spin, catches him as his arm is just going forward. Looks to me like they've been waiting for Keith McCants to take a step up. Today, he's turned it up a notch.
Again, the Buccaneers defense stopping the Bears at crucial times. That following a Tampa Bay turnover, the interception by Wolford. Gardaki's punt. Fair catch signal at the 15-yard line by Hawkins. 41-yard punt. Sam Weich and Floyd Peters have to be pleased with the showing of their entire team, but certainly the defense today.
Well, I don't think he can find fault too much anywhere. You know, that offense and that defense has been playing very well. And really, these are the guys, their #1 picks, that they've been having to count on. And he's been, hey, Sam Weich's been very public about saying some of these guys just haven't played well for us. Paul Gruber is the one guy who they have been able to lean on. The rest of those high picks really haven't come through for us.
Still have to prove themselves. Sam also points out they weren't his picks. On 1st down, Reggie Cobb over the 20-yard line. A pickup of close to 5, and that brings us to the end of the 3rd quarter. With the score, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 20 and the Chicago Bears 3. Our coverage will continue after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Stadium, the Buccaneers with a 20-3 lead, and they were penalized for holding on the last play of the 3rd quarter. So they will start back at their own 7-yard line. But the Bears in this stage of the game this year have been dismal.
They have been absolutely horrendous, and you know they can't figure out why. Now, at the beginning of the season, Mike Ditka came out with that statement, you know, be fit to hit. We're going to be in great shape. We're going to be strong in all 4 quarters. That has not shown up. As a matter of fact, I don't think the Bears have won a game when they're losing after 3 quarters. So if you based it on statistics, Tampa Bay is the winner right now.
If you suggest to Ditka that his team is either not conditioned well or B, too old in some places, he will immediately spring to their defense and say that's not the case. I don't have the answer why we're playing badly in the 4th, but it has not anything to do with age or conditioning.
Well, I think you just saw a guy right there who's going to take it upon himself. He's been there many times before. He knows what we've got to do in this 4th quarter, and that's Mike Singletary.
Bucks did not have a 1st down in the 3rd quarter after dominating the 1st half. Testaverde will try to spark him here. And that's incomplete. Intended for Parker. Jeff Parker, the newly elevated wide receiver from the practice squad.
There's good pass defense right there. Now they rolled out, kind of squeezed everything into the one corner, and the Chicago defense just flowed and pushed it over to that 3-receiver side and closed it down, not allowing Vinny Testaverde to get the ball in there.
I wonder if Vinny has his helmet a size smaller. He's got much less hair this season. You notice that?
It's just a haircut.
2nd down and 18. Cobb. Singletary. Right at the line of scrimmage, got maybe a yard.
Yeah, now Mike Singletary, right before this series, he's slapping guys in the head. He's patting them on the rear end. He said, look, we got to get something going. He's doing his part. Mike Singletary has been there before. Intensity is his game, and that's what they've got to have right now.
Bears run the nickel defense on here as the Bucks go without a huddle. Testaverde in this half is 1 for 4 and an interception, only 5 yards. So the Bears have cranked it up some in the third quarter, but they still trail 20-3, and they're in that real twilight zone, the fourth.
Third and long.
Dossie, Parker, Hawkins, and Carrier, the 4 wide receivers. Testaverde's got room to run. Does
Nice
not
tackle.
get to the marker. Stopped at the 20-yard line, 4th down.
That's a good job by Maurice Douglas. Drop him back into zone. You'll always give everything up underneath. Now, once that quarterback has made a declaration that he's going to run, you've got to have your defense closed. That's got to come from your backers. And in that case, when he breaks outside, your DB's got to come up and make the tackle. Maurice Douglas did it. Maurice Douglas has been an absolute standout on the special teams. And when they've played him in the nickel, he's always come through.
Straczynski stands at his 5. Morgan at the 40-yard line of the Bears. Nearly blocked. Rivera had a good shot, just missed.
Got me excited there for a second.
44-yard punt. 20-3, Tampa leads it. On this game summary that Testaverde so far a solid afternoon, but an interception in his last offensive series. Cobb continuing to have a consistent level of play, 84 yards through 3 quarters. And Tampa Bay dominating in total yardage, most of that, of course, in the first half when they had the ball for double the time of the Bears. Chicago up against it here now, 13:09 to go at their own 31. Lewis close to 5.
Yeah, really the strength of this Tampa Bay defense are these 2 guys, 71 Santana Dotson, 77 Mark Wheeler. Now he throws Rodenhauser to the side. That's a nice play. And comes off the ball, and those 2 guys, we've talked about that in the beginning of the game. Those 2 guys right there, Dotson and Wheeler, they are going to be the strength of this Tampa Bay defense for a long time. Both of them are committed to becoming better.
Interesting listening to Mark Wheeler talking about all of the things he doesn't know yet.
Right.
And, you know, and how eager he is to learn and watching more and more tape, things he had never done in college. He is an eager guy to be an all-pro. Lewis gets the first down out to the 48-yard line. Thomas made the tackle. Something they have learned, I guess, just on instinct, because they're both good pass rushers.
Yeah, I mean, they've got 13 between them, and that beats 4 other football teams. And you know what? They're still learning. Santana Dotson's just learning how to play against the double team. Mark Wheeler says, I'm watching film, and I really don't know how to watch film yet. And that's the part of the game that you really learn the longer you're in it. You really should have somebody to kind of take you under your wing and show you. Unfortunately, on this Tampa defense, they don't have that guy.
Bears with a first down at the 48-yard line. Stan Thomas has moved to left tackle now, replacing Ozine. Van Horn back in at right. Lewis, nowhere to go. 4 Buccaneers out there, led by Jimmy Williams.
Yeah, Jimmy Williams. There's my guy right there, Jimmy Williams. I have liked him his whole career. When he was in Detroit, when he was in Minnesota, and now here. And you know what marks his play? Consistency. This man here is the most consistent defender, he and Ricky Reynolds, on this Tampa Bay team. And he'll always make a play. He's never out of position. He's a very good learner. He's one guy that Wheeler and Dotson should grab. And I said earlier that they didn't have him. I was wrong. Jimmy Williams is the guy that you can learn from. He'll show you how to watch the film. He'll show you how to study, to show you how to be a professional in this league.
2nd and 10 from the 49 for the Bears. Buccaneer defense continues to play with inspiration. A reverse to Morgan.
Nice.
Harbaugh blocking for him and makes a block. And Morgan has a first down inside the 35 to about the 33.
Now you got a quarterback. There's something happens you rarely see. Number 1, you got Jim Harbaugh, and number 2, you got Wendell Davis right here in your screen, number 82. Now he knows the play's going away. Ricky Reynolds doesn't know that. Now Reynolds got to brace himself. Wendell Davis doesn't stop. Now you're going to get thrown around, but that's okay. You got 12 yards and a first down. Wendell Davis gets high marks. Harbaugh also threw his face in there.
Made a good block.
That's an interesting statistic because Jim Harbaugh told us that they needed more production out of their first down.
Here's one here from the 34. And it's tipped and almost picked off by Thomas. Roderick Thomas with all that raw talent. You talked about Jimmy Williams watching at practice the other day.
Right.
Williams counseling Thomas on the sideline about various defenses out on the field during practice. The kind of guy who can set a terrific example for this rather high-strung and boisterous young Thomas.
Yeah, well, Jimmy Williams is the steadying force that Broderick Thomas really needs. Broderick Thomas comes through with all the credentials. He can run, he's athletic, he's got good strength, good speed, good numbers, height and weight. Those are all measurables, and he's good in the measurable department. Where he's not good right now, and you hear it all the time, is they say, look, keep your mouth shut and play the football game. You play one down at a time, you'll be very good. He hasn't learned to do that yet.
2nd and 10 for the Bears. Draw play for Lewis. Lewis picks his way for another first down.
And one guy who has learned to do that one play at a time has been this man, Darren Lewis. He's not doing anything that surprises us, Tim. And we watched it on film, and we saw that spark that he has. He's limping around out there on an ankle, but you know what? This guy knows how to play the game of football. He's got great instinct. He's got great balance. He can see. He's got good vision. Those are all kinds of good qualities that good running backs have to have. And I know I've said this down a couple times this game. This man's got it.
Up to 63 yards, getting a rest. Buster and Anderson now in.
He's also shown another thing. Now he's playing hurt. You like to see that.
Anderson gets about 2, maybe 3 to the 20-yard line where Reggie Burnett, the middle linebacker, number 56, makes initial contact.
Coming out, the Chicago Bears are starting to get a little bit of fire now. You know, you talked at the beginning of this game. They said, look, I guarantee you there's going to be a fight in this game because we're going to go out and try to establish ourselves. Now, fights, you know, that comes all different kinds of ways. You know, there's the old drag them, knock them out, be punching at everybody in the face, but it also comes play in and play out. And that's the stuff that's hard to pick up. You know, you got a guy down there fighting every single play, not stopping. That generally happens right down in your front four and your down lineman in the offense.
Play action, wide open to tight end. Jennings to the 1-yard line.
Mike Ditka just stole a page right out of Sam Weiss's book there, Tim. They go with the play action, they roll away, they bring the tight end all the way back. There's Keith Jennings, wide open. Nice ball, right on the money. Now watch Jennings, he comes in motion, you see now he takes the fake. The only difference here is they have him in his zone. Oh, they're manned up. I'm sorry, they're manned up. Safety never shows up. Milton Mack does a good job getting in there and making the tackle.
Almost identical to the touchdown play to Hall.
Amazing. Probably watched our halftime highlight.
They're still missing James Thornton with a foot injury, and Jennings is filling in well. Diving is Neil Anderson, touchdown. 7:31 still remains in the fourth.
Anderson goes over the top, and he was aided by a nice block by Brad Muster. And what he does, Muster goes in there, and he just knocks down the front people. Now watch, you'll see him jump. And what that does is does not allow Reggie Burnett, 56, to be able to jump and get to the height of Neil Anderson. Muster throws himself in. You don't have to have devastating blocks. You just got to get in the way.
Good effort by Anderson. Bears had moved Tim Ryan over to help block with the 2 tight ends, Blackwell and Jennings, on that play. And we now have a 20-10 ball game. Tim Ryan with Matt Millen. Fourth quarter here in Tampa, under the lights now, 7:31 remaining. And the Bears have just scored to make it a 20-10 ball game. Anderson diving from a yard out, a 64-yard drive on 9 plays, their first lengthy drive of the game. Butler's kickoff taken by Gary Anderson. He's dangerous to the 35-yard line. Marcus Paul, the man to get him. 32-yard return for the veteran Anderson. Now it's it's crunch time for the Bucs offense here to keep the ball away from the Bears. Vinny Testaverde, who's had a good first half, not a bad second half. One interception here in the second.
And no first downs, Tim.
And no first down so far in this second half.
Now they come out with a 2 tight end look, and they're going to give you a balanced look. And Vinny Testaverde will just run away from your strength.
Testaverde can't find an open man. Now he goes to Cobb, who bailed him out there nicely, and Cobb gets a first down. Cobb took the play action fake and then had a presence of mind to keep an eye on Testaverde.
Now watch the fridge. William Perry right there on Tony Mayberry. Now Tony Mayberry is going to be a pretty good football player, but when you talk to the guys about him, what they say with him is he's got very good hands, and you just saw it right there. What you also saw was good presence by Vinny Testaverde to find the open guy. So just when we say they haven't had a first down, they get a first down.
Well, not quite. They're second and about a half a yard.
Oh, okay.
To the 45. Unless it was a 9.5-yard first down, Matt.
They changed that, I think.
Second and short. Bucs at their own 44. Cobb has the first down. Close to midfield, a flag flies.
Well, you're certainly handing it to the right guy. And maybe the reason he's had 86 yards today is because they've been holding and haven't been getting called.
Holding, offense number 62, 10 yards, repeat second down.
Ian Beckles.
I just told you about hands. Now this man here, Ian Beckles, he got caught. And he's arguing with it with Bruce Reimers right there in the huddle. But, you know, this is a very strong guy. And we talked to him yesterday about Ian Beckles, what his strengths are. And he's just like a little fire plug out there. He's been a strong guy, good run blocker, uses his hands well. He got caught.
Second and 11. Falling into the big play category now. 6 minutes left.
Haven't seen much of Chris Zorge today.
Had some play early in the game. Hasn't been out there recently. Cobb tripped up at the line. Cox, the linebacker, number 54. Leaving third and long, about 9.
That was a real nice read right there by Mike Singletary. Read the lead draw, stepped up real quick, stepped in the hole, made him bounce it outside. The linebacker did their job right there. Third and 8's a big down for the Tampa Bay offense. This falls down on their offensive front blocking and Vinny Testaverde's ability to find the open guy. Let's see what happens.
6 DBs in for the Bears. Testaverde dropped. Ron Hall, the tight end, a normally sure-handed receiver, and had enough real estate, it appeared, to get the first down.
Well, we said it would become to their offensive front. They did the job. They pass blocked. They said to come on to Vinny Testaverde to find the open guy. He does his job. What we forgot to mention was you got to catch the ball before you get upfield. Now, Ron Hall is a sure-handed guy, and he should make that catch.
Straczynski will be punting to Tom Waddle, waiting for it at the Bear 22.
Best thing that I heard Mike Ditka say about Tom Waddle is we're putting him back there because he's sure-handed and never bet against him.
Short punt to the 31-yard line. Flag down. Flag on the play back at the line of scrimmage.
I don't think that Tampa Bay was set. And I was right. They were still making their calls and trying to get people at the line of scrimmage, and they snapped the ball.
32-yard punt. Now, will the Bears just decline
Motion
that?
On the right side of the kicking team's line. The penalty is refused.
And
First down.
They do. So they will start from the 30-yard line. 4:42 to go. We'll be back at Tampa Stadium in a moment. And Sam showing a little ability to work the officials as well. Two intense competitors as head coaches. And Sam, I think, feeling a little tension now because 4:42 still remains. His team has not been able to move on offense at all in this half. Now it's up to the defense to stop the Bears. And the Bears are now battling the clock as well. Knocked down by Ray Seals.
Big play by Ray Seals. Keep this in mind right now for both sides of the ball. Mental toughness. It's what Sam Weish has preached all week, and it's also what Mike Ditka has been preaching all week. As it is defined by Mike Ditka, the ability to maximize your play under maximum pressure. Ray Seals maximizes play.
2nd and 10. Crowd into it. Good protection. Davis is there.
Oh,
what a catch. Wendell Davis took the hit, almost lost it, grabbed it back. Darrell Fullington put the wrap on him.
And what a chance they just took with that pass. I'll tell you, Darrell Fullington was sitting right there in the slot. Davis goes down, knows he's going to get hit. Harbaugh throws a chancy ball, makes a great catch.
46-yard line.
Watch the safety sitting right there. See, he sees it all the way. That's great concentration by Wendell Davis.
Nobody open. Now gets help.
Oh, incomplete.
Incomplete. Out of bounds. Anthony Morgan.
He's got to throw it over Darrell Pollard. Morgan's got to keep his feet down. Now look, there's one. You know what? No, that's a good call. That's a good call.
I know you were thinking that perhaps he was pushed out.
Yeah,
there,
and then I saw his foot
he was already
slide.
out. Yeah.
That's a nice picture to look at right there.
2nd and 10 from the 46. Harbaugh, 12 of 25.
Time for those pass rushers to show up for Tampa Bay.
Harbaugh incomplete. Not a good throw.
Poor throw. And there's one of those pass rushers we were just talking about. Santana Dotson, the rookie, who has his 9 sacks. Watch him right here, number 71, and he's on Mark Rodenhauser. Nice throw, works back inside. Once you get there, you always make the hit to let them know that you're coming back again.
Gentry, the intended receiver. Bears are 0 for 9 on 3rd downs.
This is 3rd and 10, but they also have 4th down. I'm sorry?
It's also 3rd and game.
Now they still got 4th and game.
3:50 left to go. Harbaugh looked for the release man. Now he finds Davis to the 10-yard line.
Chalk that up to the quarterback. Jim Harbaugh does a great job getting pushed out of the pocket. They get the good pass rush on him, but he stays patient. He doesn't lose his cool. He's under control the whole time. Now look downfield. I find you. There's the ball. He makes up for the poor pass and comes back with a big play.
You know what's interesting here, Matt, too? Mike Ditka has Jay Leuenberg, the rookie from Colorado, in there at guard on this crucial series, and he just made a good block protecting for Harbaugh. 11-yard line. 1st down, Chicago. 3:40 left to play. Bucks by 10.
There's Leuenberg, 58, side of Van Horn, 78. Looks like they got him matched up in man, Tim.
That's complete. Touchdown, Neil Anderson.
How can you not score all day through 3 and then come down and score like that in a minute?
That's football.
Watch Neil Anderson, the offset back. Who's responsible for him? You see him. He's just coming out right there. Breaks back underneath. I don't have my telestrator, but Marty Carter He's the one who had his coverage, left him get back underneath.
Butler for the point after. And we have a 3-point game, 3:35 still remaining. Mike Ditka, the emotional coach,
Right.
He's got his team gathered around him.
And he's got him on his side. I'm going to tell you what, not only Mike Ditka, Danny Abramowitz, who's grabbing face masks, Glenn Kozlowski, who's on injured reserve, is grabbing face masks. Hey, they're pulling it together. That is infectious.
Let's see that play again, a good one.
Has got to be more infectious. He goes back, gets the pressure from Seals, knows exactly where he wants to go with the ball because he saw it develop quick, and Neil Anderson gets it in the end zone.
And Neil Anderson, replaced today in a starting role by Darren Lewis, has scored 2 touchdowns here in the 4th. One on a dive, one on that 11-yard touchdown pass.
And now let's see what Tampa Bay has got. They're trying to stop this 5-game losing streak. They know they're a good football team. I don't think this is a bad team, and they believe it.
Buccaneers are looking for the onside kick.
Right, and they kicked it deep. Now what that says is they've got confidence now in the Chicago defense to stop them down here in Tampa's territory.
This game presented by authority of the National Football League, and the CBS telecast intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Chicago Bears, Tampa Bay Bucks, National Football League, and CBS is prohibited. You better check with Matt Millen before
That's
you
right.
do anything.
Because I also make this guy, Danny Abramowitz, we better check. Now, he's fired up, too. He's got him going on the sideline.
From the 20-yard line. Now the Buccaneers have to show what they're made of. They beat the Bears in the first half handily. They're losing the second half. Reggie Cobb, you know what to expect from him. 5 almost every time.
Now there's a timeout. I'll tell you what. Reggie Cobb took the handoff, turned upfield, and William Perry just slapped it right across the face.
If you joined us late, Tampa Bay led 20-0 at the half. The Bears got a field goal in the 3rd quarter, 2 touchdowns here in the 4th, the quarter in which they have really been hopeless all season long.
Now watch Reggie Cobb. He takes the handoff. Now he get everybody going one way. Now cut back. Now here comes the paw. Look at that. Boom. That makes you feel good to be up here in the booth.
Cobb has carried 24 times today, tying his most rushes so far. That was against Indianapolis last year, and he has 93 yards, which is also his best effort in terms of 24 carries.
Well, that was a way to qualify that one.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
He'll get a few more because they want to run the clock down here. 3:20 to go. 2nd and 5.
Tampa Bay, keep in mind, has not gotten a first down in the second half.
Bears had Michael, Perry, Ryan, and Dent. Cobb stopped just short of the first down.
And this is perfect. It's going to come back down to short yardage, 3rd and short. They got to stop them if they want to win this football game. And Tampa Bay is doing exactly what they know they can do. And that's pound the ball. Look at this. Unbelievable. San Francisco comes back.
Up by a point, 46 seconds left in that game. Sam White's talking to Testaverde, 3rd and less than a yard.
Now you saw Sam White, flex both his arms. He's calling for his Rhino package. Now here comes Tim Ryan. There's Anthony McDowell, 37. They'll get all their big guys in there, 3rd and short. And you can't ask for, hey, this is what football is all about. We're down by 3. We haven't had a first down. The offensive line worked perfectly in the first half. In the second half, we're having a little bit of problems. Now it's going to get down to, this is push comes to shove. This gets back to mental toughness. See who has it.
20-17. Bears have taken 2 timeouts. The clock is against them, of course. Cobb, wide, first down, then some. To the 41-yard line, Reggie Cobb.
Reggie Cobb is mentally tough. The ability to maximize their effort, when the pressure is on. Play is designed to go inside. He just bounces it off, makes a big first down.
A 100-yard day for Reggie Cobb.
Again, last time he played the Chicago Bears, he had 109 yards. They knew he was going to carry the football, Tim. They knew they had to stop him between the tackles. They haven't been able to stop Reggie Cobb.
This is a quality back, proving it week in and week out. And what a good story, he and Darren Lewis. We talked about Lewis becoming a star, both of them having drug problems in college, having to fight through that. Ray Perkins given credit for saying to Reggie Cobb, look, come and play for me. You're going to be all right. Cobb is grateful for Perkins giving him that shot. He's got his life together and is a dedicated, fine young man. Likewise, Darren Lewis, who would have been a first-rounder with all of his great records at Texas A&M, not drafted until the 6th because of his reputation. And he is, again, like Reggie Cobb, saying, that's all behind me. I know I made a mistake. And they were kids, and that's what everybody must remember.
What you'll really hear when you talk to them, Tim, is you can hear maturity come out of their mouth.
Absolutely. They were just young kids at that time. It's great to see how they've got things going so well for them now. First down at the 40-yard line. Oh! Cobb blasts his way, took a tremendous hit, and still turned it into a 5-yard gain. Singletary had the lick on him.
And this is why Reggie Cobb is such a good football player and an excellent running back. He can take a hit like this, and hey, this is a standard Mike Singletary snap. Let me tell you, comes to the hole, boom, look at that. Face up, feet under him. Reggie Cobb shrugs it off, spins outside, and picks up 5.
Morrissey, the man to pin him.
No quit in either of those guys.
2:24 and counting down. The Bucs are doing what they need to do here.
Big second down. For Reggie Cobb, who we know is going to carry the football, and for the Chicago Bear defense. Now Chicago gives them an 8-man front, Tim, and they're daring them to run.
Cobb for about a yard. 2-minute warning. And we've got a thriller for a finish here. The Bucs by 3 with 2 minutes to go. From an abusive husband tonight on CBS. Third down and 4.
Here's
Buccaneers.
The game. This is the game right here, Tim. Oh, nice job by Richard Dent.
They've got him at the line of scrimmage. 4th down.
Great job by Richard Dent.
Lemuel Stinson made the tackle. Dent made the play, and an important tackle for Stinson,
Huge.
Who was sat down today by Ditka in favor of Fain, victimized on that big play by Cincinnati
now
last
watch,
week.
when you're the end man in the line of scrimmage, the general cardinal rule is always stay as deep as the deepest guy. Richard Dent makes the play.
Straczynski's punt and a flag down, maybe against the Bears.
Okay.
Dante Jones rushing the kicker. Let's wait and see. Straczynski went down. The flag flew.
Holding.
Was there contact? No, it is against the Buccaneers for holding.
Now, do you take that back and make him repunted?
Well, that's a good
looks
call.
Like it's what it's going to be.
I think you would, because they're at the 17 on the mark as it is now. Straczynski went down, and Dante Jones looked around saying, boy, I hope they don't flag me on this.
Holding on the kicking team prior to the catch. Repeat 4th down.
That's a big penalty.
Straczynski standing at his 25 now, and it is final. San Francisco with 2 touchdown passes from Young to Brent Jones, bringing back the 49ers.
And that figures
the Saints.
John Taylor's back. Jerry Rice are on the outside. That opens a tight end up. And they're going after it. I don't know if I like that call.
Fair catch at the 27-yard line. A gain of 10 on the penalty. And so the Bears have 137 to get close enough to at least tie and force overtime.
You know, Tim, I didn't like that call right there of going after it.
They went after it on the previous one as well, and it was very close to being roughing the kicker.
I would try to get as many people held up and just with a middle return come right up the field. But that's probably why I'm not coaching.
Well, you get the coach from here, nobody can fire you.
Au contraire.
Harbaugh intended for Gentry, incomplete.
That's a good job by Jim Harbaugh throwing that ball away.
Roger Jones had the coverage. Harbaugh saw that. 1:31 on the clock.
Ray Seals does a good job of making him stand up and getting some good pressure. Ray Seals has quietly turned in one heck of a football day today, Tim.
Harbaugh 14 of 29, 182 yards and a touchdown, no interceptions. Sideline complete to Waddle. First down to the Bear 42. Clock stopped at 1:25.
Big first down. That sideline played perfectly by Waddle, and I'll tell you what, Milton Mack almost makes an interception right here. Now, this is a tough throw to make. He's going all the way across field, and he's throwing in that zone where the corner can see the whole thing happen. Waddle does a great job of coming down with the ball and staying in bounds.
Bears have no timeouts remaining, remember.
This is the time when Tom Waddle becomes the factor. This is his kind of game. Big pressure.
Anderson. Out of bounds at midfield. 1:17. Carter forced him out.
And another good job right there by Neil Anderson, knowing where he is on the field, knowing he has no timeouts and has got to get out of bounds. Nice call, very well executed.
Butler has a 27-yard field goal in the third quarter. He missed from 45.
We got to get a surge if we're Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We got to get some pressure. We've been giving them zone all the way down the field. You don't want to take chances. You want to let them make a mistake. Them being Chicago. And there we go.
Fourth Buccaneers sack.
Keith McCants has really turned it up today. They've been looking for somebody to take that step, and he's been the guy. Watch him come off the corner. He beats two people. The last one being Keith Van Horn for the sack.
Van Horn out there with a sore leg, remember. Third down, Harbaugh, complete to Waddle. First down, Bears in the middle of the field, clock ticking.
See, now
49 seconds left.
That's a good job by Tampa Bay, laying on him, not letting him up. Let the clock work against you. Be lazy getting back there, but when the ball is ready to put into play, that's when you've got to go.
At the 32-yard line.
He needs another 10 yards to tie this up.
Draw play. Oh. Well played by the Bucs.
Get off slow. 22
Seals
seconds.
made the tackle. On Anderson. 14 seconds left.
Right, that's good. They got him offsides.
Flags fly as Harbaugh stopped the clock with a spike.
I don't know why he would have come off like that so late. Now, he got him offsides. That was Ray Seals running to the sideline.
11 seconds remain. Butler waiting for the opportunity.
If his shoulders look like they're sagging a little bit, that's because all the pressure is weighing him down.
He has a 50-yarder this year, his longest 52 career-wise. He's done it 4 times.
Number 98 was trying to get off the field. He was offside in the process. The penalty is 5 yards. The clock will remain stopped.
I see Ray Seals right here, just crossing the 30. He's trying to get off, I assume, because somebody came in for him. And that's tough. On the other hand, it's a good play for Chicago. Now, they'll get 5 yards out of it. You got 11 seconds left to go. Protect the sideline if you're a Tampa Bay defender. You don't let him get any quick outs.